Welcome once again to The Sage. As usual, you make this journey precious. Thank you for listening, always being with us, and thank you, many of you, for the feedback we have received. Positive feedback, which has given us courage to continue. This is the concluding part of a trilogy that is an introduction to a series we're about to start. A series we have called Living Our Hope to a Compassionate Nigeria. The title was chosen after a great deal of thought and deliberation between my team and I. We reflected on the very difficult times our country is going through, where millions of our people are suffering. They can't feed themselves and their families. We also reflected and accepted that we can't give up. We cannot fold our hands and die. And a third profound reflection was the fact that as important as many macro level factors are to making the situation better, that the change must come from within us, from our becoming more of a compassionate people, of our becoming more compassionate with each other, kinder to each other, sharing more with each other. Everything emanates from that. And so we said, living our hope to a compassionate country has to come by action from all of us, not just our leadership. That title is a profound one. Permit me to use a proverb from my native language that says that hunger that has hope will never kill. It couldn't be more true than today in our country. And we believe with all passion, all sincerity, that if we as a people live our hope of a better Nigeria, a compassionate Nigeria, this hunger will not kill us. Yes, we need to live that hope, and we need to cling on to that hope, and we need to make that hope come true. In a way, providentially, because providence is always with us, we have come to learn, after we had agreed on the title for the series, that actually for many Christians in the world, at least for the Catholics, I'm aware that the Pope himself has declared 2025 the year of hope for the world. It couldn't be more appropriate. We must have hope. We can't give up. And we must live that hope. Hope that you do not act on is not real hope. And so yes, for the next few weeks, we will be running a series titled Living Our Hope for a Compassionate Nigeria. We have had 2 episodes of this trilogy, our introduction. In the first episode, we brought again attention to the fact that we are witnessing and experiencing hunger as never before. We witnessed an unprecedented inflation and rise on cost of living for millions of us in Nigeria. This without any commensurate increase in income. So many of what we would normally call the common man can no longer feed themselves and their families. At the beginning, there was a lot of clamor. We talked of palliatives, we talked about importing rice at a reduced cost, with all kinds of recognizing the hardship that had come upon us. I know that within the past few weeks there has been a little decrease in prices of some of these commodities, but it hasn't made a significant difference. Let me be bold and say that. And we mustn't forget that our people continue to suffer. We talked about the fact that it is alarming to note that perhaps we are audacious enough to be continuing our lives, business as usual. That is unethical. It is almost immoral. We cannot turn our faces away from our suffering majority. Our people are suffering. We dwelt at length on it in the first episode of the series. In the second episode of the trilogy, we talked about why it is indeed unethical. God Himself cannot be happy with us if we do not cater for one another, if we do not become our brother's keeper. That is why we exist on this planet Earth. We are our brother's keeper, and we must live it out in our daily actions. We must learn. We cannot turn our faces away. We must learn to look at our neighbors, our families, who are suffering, who have less than us, and do what we can to help. Even if the only help we can give is a listening ear and a word of encouragement. But I believe we can all do more than that. No matter how much or how little you have, you can give. The only way we can live our hope, the only way in which our hope can materialize someday, our hope for a compassionate Nigeria, is when we live that hope, when we become truly our brother's keeper, when we have compassion for one another, when someday, perhaps, this country will be known as a country peopled by a compassionate people. That second episode, these sentiments were brought to life in a heavenly, divine manner by a rendition by a beautiful young man, Chinedu, who composed it and sang it specially for the sage. If I say so, it was truly a divine piece. And so, humor us as we once again share that song. It is worth listening to. If you missed last week's episode, please go view it on the YouTube. But even at that, we're going to share it once more before we go on. Stay with us.
behind, building walls between us in the corners of our minds. We've lost the love we're owed, the kindness we've misplaced, but the hope is in our hands to rewrite this broken space. So lift the veil and clear the smoke. The cracks will mend where hearts are broke. We're stronger when we reach across. No more sinking in the loss. The light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are, look beyond the shadows cast. We'll build a future made to last. If we become the change we are. The land our fathers saved is being sold off piece by piece. Leaders count their riches while the hunger never sleeps. The dreams they promised us have faded in their lives, but the power's in our hearts to reclaim what's been denied. So lift the veil and clear the smoke. The cracks will mend where hearts are broke. We're stronger when we reach across. No more sinking in the loss. The light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are, look beyond the shadows cast. Let's build a future made to last. If we become the change we are. Become the change we are. Oh, the light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are. Oh, so lift the veil and clear the smoke. The cracks will mend where hearts are broke. We're stronger when we reach across. No more sinking in the loss. The light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are, look beyond the shadows cast. We'll build a future made to last. If we become the change we are.
Each time I listen to Chinedu, I am speechless. It takes me a few minutes to pull myself together. Yes, we love our country. Things have gone wrong in the past, but we can never afford to give up hope. Nor can we afford to ever stop working to make our country a good place for the majority of our people. We also reflected last week on our God-given national anthem and on the amazing words which indeed are encapsulated in that anthem, in which we pray, we turn, we say it openly for the whole world to hear. We call on God, our Creator. We ask Him to come be with us. We ask Him to bless our country and to make our country a place of peace and abundance. And so what is for it, in the end, what is it all for us here on the Sage? What we are saying, and will continue to say in many explicit ways in the next few weeks, is that with hope, actualized hope, hope that we live, we can indeed turn our country into a country of compassion. But in this final episode, we promise to actually tell you what is it we need to do, what is it we shall be proposing in the coming episodes that will help us achieve our dream, our hope of compassion. And so there are many more, but we sort of researched, reflected, and came up with a few, which we ask you to share with us in the coming weeks as we delve into it. The how of it. The how of it. I cannot say that too much. But let me start with a kind of a general one, which I do not think we can effectively address in the context of the Sage and in the context of everyday life of everybody, but which remain crucial towards making our country a better place. And so I start with the fact that we need good and effective leadership. Leadership that is sincere and brave enough to tackle the existing corruption that is rampant across all levels of our system. Leadership that will take on sensitive, difficult issues like our debt restructuring. Leadership that will put the policy and supportive environment in place so that things can work. Their actions, they are essential for progress, but beyond, perhaps, the intervention of the common man and of the series we are about to unfold on the Sage. And so let me now move on to things we hope to address, the good Lord willing, in the coming weeks. I do not claim to be an expert in this at all. I speak as an informed Nigerian. At least I can claim to be an informed Nigerian who has benefited from some education and who is doing my best to understand the issues around and to formulate and prefer solutions from that perspective. And so thinking about the major things we need to do to make our country progress, we need to prioritize resource and increase allocation of resources to these critical sectors. And in that regard, we have particularly selected three. One is education. We need to do something about our education, the quality, the type, the content in this country. The second is agriculture. We need to improve the efficiency of its production. We need to increase the amount of our agriculture for many, many reasons. It provides food for our teeming population and is an obvious answer to the hunger. But it will provide jobs and it will compensate our laboring farmers. We need to increase what we do within our healthcare system. and not just the system, but household health care. And so we intend to delve into some of these areas in the coming weeks and bring experts, but everyday people like you and I, to come and talk about their effort. Because our premise here in discussing the series is that we can all do something. We can all contribute in our little way to making things better. We can all delve into these sectors and do our bit to make it better. So that is one group, redirecting resources to critical sectors. The next group is diversifying the economy. Now this country, we're largely dependent on oil, but we need to diversify for our income, ability to mobilize our own resources to be more sustainable and to be greater. And critical sectors in this group are sectors like manufacturing and trade. And indeed, agriculture comes in here as well. Because there was a time that was indeed the mainstay of the economy of Nigeria. We were producing things like granules, cocoa, and so on and so forth, and exporting. And were some of the global stakeholders in that. We need to move with the times and understand and use technology better. We need, like the rest of the world, to undergo a digital transformation. AI is the talk everywhere. We need to be part of that playing field and use it maximally to inform the way we run our country. The third and final group, one that is dear to my heart, is the issue of innovative entrepreneurship. The future of our economy depends on innovative entrepreneurship. That is what we need to drive productivity, growth, and inclusive prosperity in this country. To achieve this, the federal government needs and should provide the supportive environment, the policy environment, the regulatory systems, and many more that would support innovative entrepreneurship. We need to support small and medium-scale enterprises. It is these enterprises that are the bedrock of our economy. They produce jobs for our teeming young population. I speak with passion about this because we as in C4C believe so much in this. And that is the premise for which we run our Global Entrepreneurship Fellowship Program for young people. We need to fund these initiatives, fund these enterprises, help them to remain successful and to grow, and help them to make our economy a much better one. We shall delve a great deal more into these areas in the next few weeks. We shall sit here and discuss. We don't claim to have all the answers, but discuss and demonstrate that in these areas particularly that I have spent time and dwelt on, each of us can do something. We can contribute in the work, and many of it align with the work we do in our normal lives. but we do it from the perspective of progressing our nation, of giving our very best, because we want our country and our people to be better off. And therefore that we have a strong and critical role in the development and progress of our country. We each have a role. There's no onlooker in this game. To sincerely live our hope, we all have a role. And so we shall bring ordinary people. We're not looking for super experts who will tell you their story of their own hope journey, of the things they are doing and intend to continue doing, so that these sectors will improve, and so Nigeria will be a better place, so we will be able to be a more compassionate people, and so that millions of our people can stop suffering. Take my word for it. You cannot afford to miss the next few weeks of discussion, of inspiring stories, of inspiring guests, everyday people who are doing their best. Don't miss any of it. Join us next week as we start on the very first episode. I reveal the name now to be called Everyday Kindness. And I look forward to your being with us as we journey on these topics in the next few weeks. Thank you.